Okay, welcome everyone to the world that is known as Sd Gundam Generation Overworld, which is virtually what happens when you decide to make a Gundam game that spans across multiple universes, where friends become allies and allies become foes. I am part of the Zeon Federation, Sai Owens, and I'm going to be your guide through this wonderful world. Alright, so let's get started here. Now, this is a PSP game that was released in Japan only, but due to some very dedicated fans, they did create an English patch for it that gives me the ability to play it for all of you. So, because of that, I won't be able to import any data from anything to get any of those special rewards. So, to give a little insight what's going on here, this current part is taking place during this series known as Gundam Unicorn, which revolves around the clash of Neo Zeon with the Earth Federation, all about an incident that happened at the beginning of the space colonization years. They are looking for a device known as the Laplace box, which, due to the system built into the RXO, or also known as the Gundam Unicorn, as a way to track it. But, like I stated earlier, since this game is a crossover game, we're about to see something that does not happen in the actual world of Gundam Unicorn. All right. Virtually what she is talking about is that because throughout the entire universe of Gundam itself, there are many different alternate timelines. Because of this world signal that is originating from an unknown source, all these different timelines are slowly merging and folding in on each other. So things that would normally never interact with each other happens, like in this situation that's about to happen here. Because these things that are appearing in front of us are actually from Gundam 00. They're known as the ELS, which is a group of aliens that virtually they infect other machines and gain knowledge based on what they infect. Now, because of the world overlapping, all these timelines overlapping, that's the only reason why in particular, this group of people know about the ELS, even though they're not from the same timeline. The wonderful 00 Quanti, a mole suit that is known to be able to break the very laws of physics itself by actually teleporting through space and time. Well, through space. Alright, now we can get into the nitty-gritty of the actual gameplay. The stuff that this game does very well for a turn-based strategy game. In this situation, since we are only in the prologue, I only get access to, at this point, the Gundam Unicorn and the 00 Quanti, with support from the Nel Argama Kai. So certain units in this game are known as master units. They get access to their master skills, which vary from pilot to pilot. They're not actually linked to the mobile suit, but the individuals themselves. So, for instance, the Gundam Unicorn and Banger Link's skill, in particular, is recovering HP and energy, which is very useful in a lot of situations, since when a mobile suit runs out of energy, you have to actually take it back to whatever main ship that it sortied from to gain back full energy and health. With an ability like this, it lets it stay out in the field longer. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this guy. We don't want to put him too close to the enemy, so we'll put him about right here. Now, every mobile suit has its own axis of ability, like weaponry. So some may have more weapons than others, depending on how technologically advanced that mobile suit in particular is, and depending on what it actually gets in the anime or manga or video game that it spawned from. So out of all these right here, the best one, honestly, since this is a tutorial and they're not going to front load me with a lot of danger, it's safe to say I can use the strongest attack, the Beam Magnum, to poke at this guy. Now, another cool feature that they did for this is what's called supporting. If a master unit is in a specific range to another ally that's in its master range, you can select it to support. So in this case, we'll just do the GN sword bit so we don't waste the 00 Quanti's energy, since doing a combo attack like this does drain whatever resources you are picking. And now, because we're also within range of the Nel Argama's attack for cover fire, we can access that too. So we can now hit one unit with 3 attacks without wasting the turns of my other units. So now let's just sit back and watch the fireworks. And that thing is definitely long gone. So, one really cool thing that this game does to help give the illusion of an actual continuous battle as opposed to one unit moving, attacking, and vice versa, is if that unit destroys an enemy unit, they get to move again with a chance move. You can do this up to a total of 3 attacks per unit as long as they destroy someone else. So let's move you over here and see if we can try to get another combo. Nope, you're not far enough. Let's move you right here and see. We can get another combo attack going. Nope. So, because the Quanti is out of range from Unicorn, I can't access a dual attack like I did last time. So we'll just give it one quick fire and see if we can destroy it. Now, I have to say, for a PSP game, the animations just look phenomenal for the limited resource that handheld had. Ah, almost got him. Let's see how much damage this does. For something that looks like it should fully destroy that mobile suit, we took very little damage, so that's good for us. So let's see. Now, I do have a complaint specifically about the battleships in this game. If I were to move the Nal Argama up any, I will not be able to attack for some reason. But if I leave him right here, I can get access to all of his attacks and hit these two units. Because in this game, certain attacks will be able to target multiple enemies at once. So in this case, I can target these two with this one attack, which they're both going to try to dodge it, so we have a 48% chance of hitting. So let's see if XCOM's taught us anything about any sort of RNG. So 48% chance to miss. Well, to hit, we're probably going to miss. And let's see, did we get a nice clean hit on these two? We did. We hit one of them, the other one evaded, but I mean, that's not bad for having less than a coin flip's chance. So now, like I said earlier, where mobile suits can get multiple turns, battleships, due to the amount of power that they have compared to most mobile suits, can only get that one attack, but most of their attacks will hit multiple enemies. So now we get to move over to the nice Quan Ti. So let's see what his skill is. Infinite MP. So certain skills in this game will cost MP. Not a lot, not all of them, but a good portion. Some of the very strong attacks definitely will. So if he has that, I say we use it. There's no harm in using it at all. So since I now used it, if I choose to try to use that ability again, I will have to have already returned to the sortie ship. But in a situation like this, the Quan Ti doesn't have a sortie ship because it didn't come from any ship. It spawned in the map. So let's move you about right here. Keep it close to your buddy. So, as I was saying, certain attacks hit multiple enemies. The Trans Am system, which does a ton of damage, has a lock of 3, which means I can select up to 3 units at once to fight. But we're only getting 2 in that range, so let's see if we can make that a bit better. There we go. Gives us a nice spread. Well, since that one is guaranteed dead, there's no point in making that my primary because whoever your additional targets are, they're going to take less damage. So let's pick this guy right here. Then we can add him. Plus, we'll throw him into the mix. So now let's see and watch the fun. The Quan Ti, able to wipe out entire fleets by itself. Alright, there we go. That was 2 out of the 3. That's good odds. So let's see. Let's move you again. A little further up. There we go. So like last time, no point attacking the weakened one. So let's target a fresh one. Get him in there and keep going. It does drain a lot of energy, but it does enough damage that I think it warrants it just for taking out 2 to maybe 3 enemies. Virtue of the system it's utilizing is known as the Trans Am system, which uses made-up parts from space called GN particles, which give virtually perpetual energy. because that's all we want, are war machines with perpetual energy. And the Trans Am system virtually forces a bigger intake of these GN particles into the system to virtually beef up its specs, making it a lot harder and making it hit a lot harder and moving a lot faster. So let's see. Well, you know what? Let's go for broke. Let's try to get all. Let's try to get all three of these guys. All right. And boom goes the dynamite. Let's see. Did we get all three or just only two? Ah, what a shame. Oh well. There's always next turn. Alright, so with that happening right there, where it's saying the tension has risen, what that is meaning is if you've KO enough units without taking damage yourself, virtually puts your character in a critical state where their attacks will have a higher chance of critting the enemy while definitely increasing their chances of doing more damage. And because we took out so many with Setsuna and the Quan Ti, and with him having infinite MP, he was able to get into that critical state. So we got no one else that can attack this turn, so let's just pass it on. Let's see what the ELS does. Not a whole lot of anything. Ah, there we go. Going the coward's route. Spawning in reinforcements. Oh boy, the world signal going out. Ah, the original pilot, Amuro Ray, the man that started the revolution for Gundam. Using his Char's counterattack outfit. Kira Yamato from Gundam Seed and Destiny, the man that in the Gundam community can do no wrong and has lived a nuclear explosion point blank. Domo Kashu, the King of Hearts himself, and virtually the incarnate of Dragon Ball Z in the Gundam universe. We'll go a little bit into that. And Flint Asno, the last one of this little group that's spawning in. Virtually he's from Gundam Age, which was a unique way to try to recapture the feelings of the feelings and themes of the original Gundam. Where his unit is a very plain, simple unit compared to newer units. Alright. Now, because suits and pilots are separate in this, pilots can have abilities that isn't access to the suit. Setsuna's, as you just saw, lets him regain energy at the end of each turn, well, at the beginning of each turn. But we had enough playing with them. Let's play with some of these other guys here, see what they can do. Let's grab Amuro here in the new Gundam. Bring him right on over. Let's see. Ooh, the fin funnels are fun. Using virtually telepathy to move around these fins that are on the back of the new Gundam. Using them to either make a barrier for himself, or in this case, fly around shooting lasers. Making them very hard to fight and predict while fighting the main suit at the same time. Well, he's out of the way. Let's go to the next one. Let's see. The Hyper Bazooka is a bit stronger, so let's try that bad boy out. I do love the coloration and the design of the new Gundam. It's such a sleek design and shows how far Amuro has come from piloting the original RX-79. The original Gundam. They missed. Alright. Wow, they actually had a pretty high chance to hit too, so that's good. All right, Flint. No, you know what? We'll do Yamato. Let's see what we got here. So this is a unique unit in the fact that it has a map attack. A map attack cannot miss, but does a set amount of damage. This will only do 7,000 damage to any enemies in his range. But a map attack cannot be done if you made a movement in that turn. So if I would have kept him stationary, I could have used it. So let's try this full burst out. Yeah, Kira is on the big pacifist scale for Gundam, even though piloting one of the most dangerous ones that's powered by a nuclear reactor. Because most main pilots can either virtually fall on a scale of pacifist or soldier, and he is definitely on that pacifist scale. And I will say, despite my complaining about him, because I can tell you right now there will be some complaining later on if I talking about him, just because of how Seed ends up becoming. He is actually a very talented pilot. He can take out many opponents without actually killing them, so I will give him props to that. All right, that's none down, but let's see if Flint can take any of them down. Let's do that dodge rifle. The World of Age, where Flint watched his family get attacked and killed, where driving him to the point to actually make the Age 1 Gundam. Which he also developed a system to go with it known as the Age system, which takes battle, combat data and all that fun stuff, puts into a computer algorithm, and actually develops equipment based on what has happened. Which is where that dodge rifle comes from. The enemies he were fighting, basic lasers couldn't pierce it, so because of random science, they decide if they take a laser and put a twist on it and virtually make it into a drill, it would pierce their armor. We're not going to talk about any of the science in most of this because Gundam likes to throw science out the door. Now, at the time that this game did come out, Age was the current one. It just started virtually playing on TV. So, we won't see any major suits past that. Which really, there weren't that many Gundam incarnations after Age to where we are now. Because, if I remember right, between the two, we had Gundam Origins, which was a movie series about the original. Iron Blood Orphans, which is a phenomenal series. I highly recommend that one. For anyone that is interested in the Gundam universe, that wants to get into it, it's a great alternate universe to get into. And we had Gundam Thunderbolt, which takes place in the same universe as the original. Ooh, we got tension up. Alright, time to bring in the ace. The King of Hearts himself, Domo Nkashu. And like I said, this man is the incarnate of Dragon Ball Z in the Gundam universe. This was the first, he's part of the first alternate universe to be made in the Gundam universe. You know, that guy's really weak, so, you know, let's do Foon Psyche. Foon Psyche will be a treat for people. And if it... Simply because Foon Psyche is actually a horse Gundam. That actually has a horse piloting it. Because G Gundam. Interesting fact. In Japan, that is known as the God Gundam because its counterpart is the Devil Gundam. In America, to avoid... Well, not just America, but in the East, to avoid all that, they decided to rename it the Burning Gundam and the Dark Gundam in retrospect. Which, honestly, at hearing Erupting Burning Finger as opposed to the God Finger, I'll give it to the Erupting. Alright. Nope, I want to do that. So let's see what the full power Seki Tenkyoken is. If it's the move I think it is, it's going to be real fun. And he launches the Burger King at his foes. And I'm not even joking, that is actually how he finishes the final enemy of G Gundam. Actually, he does it in even more ridiculous fashion because he does it with his girlfriend, which is really funny looking. You know what? Let's see. Oh, no, not there. I want to go down one. Let's see what the regular burning finger looks like. Another really nice touch is every mobile suit, well, the music in the background is actually dependent on the pilots. This is actually the Erupting Burning Finger soundtrack for G Gundam. But this music is particular tied to Domon Kashu himself. So that's actually a nice little touch they did to give every character their own little flavor, is that you hear the battle song from their show or game or manga, because some series never actually got animated, so they're only manga adaptations that they actually developed music for. Oh yeah, I still have you guys down here. You know what, with 5 left, Setsuna can definitely wipe these guys out. Oh yeah, definitely. Now, I will say the enemies that we are fighting are a very unique entity in the Gundam universe. This is the first ever case of aliens in Gundam. Because to this point, it's never been about aliens. Even though they're all space operas and epics, they all take place, well, they're all centered around humans being humans, virtually. Because even though everyone knows Gundam is about selling the toys, or what are known as Gunpla, it always comes down to simply, though, their anti-war stories. Let's see. It looks like we'll be able to get all 3 with 1 hit. I'm okay with that. Now, I'm curious if the other celestial beings are in this and their mobile suits, because they're part of the same group that Setsuna is from. But with Setsuna being the protagonist, he gains all the fun, fancy power-ups. Because it's not really showcased in here, but the Quantity, like I said earlier, can travel through space instantly. It can teleport. It just has so much raw power due to the GN particles that it intakes. There we go. Oh, fun. More ELS. Yeah, virtually their entire race is almost is absorbing and adding to their mass, from what I remember. I could be wrong, because it's been a while since I've seen Trailblazer, the movie for 00, where these things are from. But I mean, just the simple fact that they absorb matter into themselves is just scary enough. I'm sorry, Amuro. The new Gundam's awesome and all, but the Quantity's power just dwarfs you. Like, out of all those suits there, I'd have to say Setsuna and maybe the Freedom Gundam would be able to... Actually, no, I'll take that back, because the Burning Gundam is just ridiculous enough that it might pull it off. Here comes Flint. Now, to go back to what that lady was saying here, virtually, these worlds originally, when they intertwine, everything's kind of good. But the longer they stay intertwined, the more chaotic it becomes. To the point where your allies in that fight will turn on you and become enemies. That's actually a thing with about every map in the game. So it's actually kind of an interesting mechanic that you get to build a relationship in a battle. Well, not really a relationship, but you get to build a strategy using the units provided to you in the battle, then to have them turn against you just like that. Again, I love how this looks, but I'm sorry. That Quan Ti's got way too much power. I like how they're trying to downplay it, but it is way too powerful. There's the inner Dragon Ball Z coming out again. All right. Luckily, at least Unicorn's still on our side. But he is really far back. And he's not too far, actually. So let's see if we can work this in our favor. So like I said before, when you move these guys, unfortunately they cannot attack, but we can try to put them in a position to help poor old Setsuna way up here. He's too far to attack. Okay, we have enough room just to attack the new Gundam. So we might as well get a good hit on the new Gundam while trying to regroup our forces. I'm kind of disappointed, though, he doesn't do his usual yelling. Setsuna, at a point, started yelling that he was the Gundam, which was really awkward for everyone involved. Ah, damn it, we missed. Or not. What on earth is going on here? Okay, we still hit. That was interesting. Okay, so let's now move Unicorn closer, because we're going to need the Unicorn's firepower. Because out of all these units, the Unicorn and actual firepower would be the second strongest with its NTD mode, which stands for New Type Destroyer. Which New Types being a new evolution of humanity that was born in space. Because again, we Gundam logic. So let's see. And we'll do the Buster Rifle. Get some damage in there, and he's got a pretty low chance to hit. So hopefully we get lucky and he misses. No, I never understood, though, in this, like, just looking at it, why the Hyper Bazooka is actually stronger than the fin funnels. You think the fin funnels, with the way that they're designed, would be the stronger source. Oh yeah, we definitely got out better there. He's doing the full burst hit. That one I'd prefer to avoid because that's a nasty little hit there. So let's see here. No, we literally stopped the invasion. So that little thing that you see popping is when he uses this attack is called a seed. Kira is part of a select group of people who are actually genetically modified to virtually be the perfect soldiers. Because in their universe, and it's pretty heavily implied that you don't pilot a Gundam unless you're smart enough to. Which is really, really weird because of the way they present it, that virtually a captain of a ship couldn't pilot a Gundam, but a untrained high school student could. because of that ability. You know what? Just for symbolism, we're going to have the unicorn attack its predecessor, because why not? Even though I've used this attack multiple times, in the actual canon, the beam magnum is actually really interesting of a weapon. It's a very high-powered laser, but it only has 6 shots like an actual magnum. It's hard to kind of see, but when I fired that, a cartridge actually comes flying off of it. Oh yeah, we definitely destroyed him. Alright, there we go. Amuro is down. Now just the fun ones. Or the mission will be over, because that's the cutscene's happening. Freudia. Just with the way that she's designed, I cannot tell if she's an actual villain or if she's a good guy. Especially with that line she says very early on that she is that she'll lead the world to the right path. That can lead into a lot of harrowing situations with people who think that way. She's virtually saying that the world core is the originator of all timelines, and that a system in it is going haywire due to another party that we don't know who it is. I will say, though, with the way this game is designed, I do like all the what-if scenarios we finally get to see. People have always asked, well, what mobile suits would beat what? Now, I know this is virtually not a full scientific way of viewing it, or like statistic way of viewing it, but we get to see some pretty cool fights that you would never naturally get to see in the Gundam universes. Like, what if Unicorn fought the new Gundam? I wonder if this is the third party that she's talking about. Whee! Oh no, he's not a third party. He's just the guy that's going to give us our title screen. Alright, now the important choice. From this point on, the game does take a little different of a turn compared to what we just saw. First things first, we had to pick a master, which is virtually going to be the leader, the mobile suit leader of our group. They've selected many different pilots from across, like I said, all the way up to age that we can choose to be our master. We only get one of them at this point, but every character in this game is obtainable. In addition to picking a pilot, it also determines, you also get to see what their master skills are. Everyone has a different set of master skills, some very reminiscent of what was in there, of what happened in their universe, like Graham Acker, for instance, who has Gundam Killer. He was an enemy of Setsuna, who Setsuna's group piloted Gundams. So let's see here. The other thing to keep in mind, too, is whatever mobile suit you get from these people, you don't actually get the full-powered version of it. You get what they call the basic, which means it'll have lower stats. In addition to that, it won't have access to all of its attacks. So, like, for instance, Jared Rand, who pilots the Gundam X, one of my favorite Gundams, actually, has what's called a satellite cannon. It's this big laser on its back. Because this is the basic version of Gundam X, he doesn't get the satellite cannon. But other mobile suits, like for instance the Tall Geese, I believe actually gets access to all of its attacks. It might be missing one, but the biggest thing is it has its Dober gun, which is a giant gun that's on its right shoulder that can either fire physical ammunition or laser ammunition. I don't know what I wanted to hit. So now, who shall be the pilot of our beautiful Zeon Federation? Well, we could do the progenitor of Neo Zeon himself, Char Aznable in the Sazabi. That'd be interesting. Let's see. Now, just looking at the list we got, I'm actually gonna, we're gonna go Zex Marquis, the Lightning Count from Gundam Wing, who is known in the Gundam universe as one of the many Char clones that exist, and he is a very, very, very talented pilot. Let's actually look at his stats here. So because the Tallgeese has a shield, it gets the ability to actually use the defend system, which only mobile suits with shields can access this. Got no optional parts, that's fine. Let's see. You got a really good shot melee, you're good at avoidance, you got pretty high defense. You're not a new type, your command is really low, and so is your charm. Oh, come on. Sex is charming. Chivalry. Ooh. That's actually really good. Virtually meaning that if you don't have a unit that does group attacks like Setsuna and the Quan Ti, putting him in a single fighting style suit actually yields good benefits from him. And you have move up, guarantees additional movement, free capture, which is something we'll look at too when we do an actual mission. Attack up, that's not bad, and tension, so he can hit criticals more. You know what? I like Zex, I like the Tallgeese. I think I know who we're going with. Yep, he will be the leader of the new Zeon Federation. Alright. Now we need to look. So, as of now, I'm going to end this episode here. If you guys enjoyed, like, subscribe, that'd be great. I plan on virtually making it so that every mission will be an episode. If they drag on too long, then I might break it up. But as of right now, that's what I'm planning on to. So, I hope you guys had fun, and I hope that you were more interested in turn-based strategy, or more importantly, in my opinion, the Gundam universe, since it is a very, very well-written universe for the most part. Alright, this has been Sai Owens. It's been great having you guys around.